So this is the concept of search help. If there is no doubt, let's move to another topic. Buffering. What do you think, guys? What is a buffer? What is a buffer? Very important question. What is a buffer?
To
And
put
what?
data in a
Yeah,
temporary
very good,
space,
very
right?
good. Put data in a temporary space. Why?
For example, instead of loading the whole table, you can load a buffer of it. So that means just the next part that you need, the next 500 entries, for
Instead of
example.
loading all the data, we can load, right? Just please tell me again. We can
You
load
can load for example, the next 500 entries that you need.
500 entries that I need. But still, I will have to load those entries from the database, right?
Mhm.
So what is the use of this temporary storage if I will have to load every time the data if I'm looking for? What do you think, Mukul? What is a buffer here? I'm not asking you to explain this technically. Just try to relate this thing with your real life. What could
I
be a
think this
buffer?
is the process of retrieving data from the database.
Process of retrieving data, fetching data. Okay, okay, but fetching data. See, the situation here is we have three layers, right? Presentation, application, and database, right?
Mhm.
Presentation, application, and database. Application and database layer. So my data is all the data resides inside the database layer. This is not a difficult question. Everybody know it. So currently we are working over here, right? We are working on the application layer. So whenever I need data, I will have to go to database every time and I will bring the data over the application layer to perform all the changes that I want to do over my application layer, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Simple definition, guys. Buffer. Buffer is a temporary space over the application layer. Okay, over the application layer, right? Temporary space over the application layer. Now, why do we need this temporary space? Why do we need this temporary space? The reason here is sometimes we need to access a particular set of records more frequently, more frequently. Okay. So instead of hitting database every time, because I know that I am going to fetch these records every day on a daily basis. So instead of hitting the database on a regular manner, what I can do is I can simply bring this set of records and I can simply store them here on the application layer on a temporary basis, so that I know now I know that I need this data regularly. I need this data regularly. So what I'm doing here, I will simply store them temporarily over the application layer. So now whenever I need to fetch the data, I will not go to database layer. I will simply go to my temporary storage, which is buffer, and I will simply use this data, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So here the concept of buffer comes into this picture. So instead of frequently accessing the data over the database layer on a regular manner, what we can do, we can simply place this frequently accessed data in a buffer from which they can be accessed easily. So overall, buffer improves the performance when accessing data records contained in the table, right or not?
Right.
Mhm.
Guys, only thing that we are discussing from the very first from very first lecture is how we can improve our performance, right? This is the only feature that we are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the buffer coming into the picture, we are no longer required to hit the database on a regular manner. What we can do is we can simply bring the data from the database and we can store here on the application layer, and we can use it. Now the question here is, where is my buffer? Where is the buffer where is the buffer options available? Any suggestion? Please tell me. Where is the buffer options available? How we can use it? Now I know the benefit of this. Now I know the benefit of this buffer, that I can simply bring the data and I can store it over the application layer. But from where I can create buffer and where I can access it? This is the question now.
Maybe
Any
with a buffer keyword within the ABAP editor.
ABAP editor? Tell me one thing, Alan. You are telling me to go to ABAP editor, but my question is, I am discussing about my tables, right? My data is there inside the tables. Did I
Okay.
ask any question related to ABAP editor from the first
No,
lecture
no.
till now? No questions
No,
now. That is a
no.
separate chapter.
So I think in the data dictionary there must be an option.
Yes, that is good answer, but let's say that is the answer. You are whatever answer you are giving me, it is a superset. I need the particular answer.
Inside the technical settings of the table.
Yes, technical setting. This is the answer I was looking for. Guys, I told you whenever we are working with the location part, technical setting comes into the picture, and my buffering options is available in technical setting of any table. Okay, now just go to our technical setting and let's find it out. Go for our log into the system again. Go to table from S11. Open the table in change mode. Go to technical setting and see it. Just below, scroll a little bit. Buffering options and buffering type. Three options are here, right? Buffering not allowed. So we have got three options here, guys. We have got three options. Buffering options. The very first one is buffering not allowed. Buffering not allowed. What is the meaning of it? What is the current setting of my table? Buffering not allowed, right? This is my current setting. This radio button has been selected now. So buffering not
Mhm.
allowed is the current setting here. It simply means table buffering is not performed for the table. Okay. Table buffering is not performed for the table. Is this thing clear?
Mhm.
Yes.
Another second one. Let's see if the what will be the second one. Second one is buffering activated. Simple. Buffering activated. Table buffering will be performed, okay, for the table. And we have the last one, which is third one. Buffering allowed but switched off currently. So buffering is allowed, but for now it is switched off, but it can be switched on at any time according to the requirement. Okay, it can be switched on at any time according to the requirement. So now if you will select for buffering activated, you will have to select any buffering type. You can see here, Single record buffered, generic area buffered, and fully buffered. How many types of buffering are there? Three types: single record buffer, generic area buffer, and fully buffered. Is this thing clear?
Yes.
Or let me just show it to you how the single record buffering works. Where is it? Yeah, this one. In case of single record buffering, single records loads into the buffer at a time. At a time, only single record, that is a single row, will be loaded into the buffer at a time. Now, when we will be using this particular thing, so whenever you are going to fetch a record, using the primary key, what do you think? Whenever we will use the primary key or complete key, I will get a single output every time, right? Because primary key is there to define my records uniquely. So if I am using the complete primary key, I will always get a single record. Okay.
Mhm.
So whenever we use complete key to fetch our records, then we use the concept of single record buffering. This is most preferred at that particular moment. And what is the advantage of single record buffering? This type of buffering will take less memory over the application layer, because at a time we are only loading a single record at the buffer. We are only loading a single record at the buffer. At a time we will only load a single record at the buffer, and only a single record will be stored on the temporary storage over the application layer. So that is why it is going to take very less amount of memory. And again, the disadvantage, let's say I have got 1 million record inside my table. So at a time only I am storing a single record inside the application layer. So whenever I will go for the next record, again I will have to hit the database and I will bring the data and I will store it over the application layer. So there is no significant reduction in number of database accesses, because we are only storing a single record inside the buffer, right? Is this thing confusing?
It was a bit
So
fast
much
for me.
silence.
I'm
Okay,
still
just
trying to
just let me
process.
explain. Let me just explain it in this way. Okay. Single record buffering. Okay. Single record buffering. What I'm saying here is, let's say I have one row 101. I have just this way 101. Then I have another row. Rest of the columns are also there, but for our example, let's say I have another row, third 103, 104, 105. Say, let's say when I am writing a query, find 101 row. Okay. So this row will be brought from the database and it will be stored over the application layer, right? It will be stored over the application layer. Okay.
Mhm.
Is this thing clear? Okay, now,
Mhm.
Yes.
because we are using single record buffering. So the benefit of this single record buffering is, at a time only I am storing a single record. So definitely it is not going to take very large amount of space over the application layer, right? Now just say here, this time I am going for 102 record. Okay. So this record is not stored inside the buffer. So I will have to go to database again, right? I will have to go to database and I will bring the data and I will store inside the application layer, right? So much silence. Are you guys tired?
No.
I'm just trying to
My
process it. It's a
okay,
bit
okay.
hard.
Let's try it again. What I am saying is, I am using the concept of single record buffering. So let's say I write a select query to fetch the 101 row. Okay, 101
Yeah.
row. Since I am using this single record buffering and I went for 101 row, so this 101 row was brought from the database layer and
Mhm.
it was stored. on the application layer, okay, inside the buffer. Now every time whenever I will go for 101 record, I no longer need to go to database layer because my 101 record is there inside the buffer. I will simply go to into the buffer and I will use it. I no longer need to go to database layer. But now let's say I'm going for 102 records. Okay. Is this 102 records stored inside the application layer? No, na?
No, because it only takes the single record, right? The
Because
101.
at a time, no, I'm not telling that it only store the single record only, but at a time, at once it will only bring a single record from database. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
So if I will go for 102, this time I will have to go to database layer and I will bring it and I will store it on the application layer. Now my application layer contains 101 and 102 records. Okay. So if I will
Okay.
fetch the 101 record, I can simply go to my what is this called? Yeah, buffer. Buffer and I will bring
Mhm.
it and I will use it. If I'll go for 102, I will go to buffer and I will use it. Now again, if I am going for 103, is this 103 over the application layer? No, na?
It first needs to be fetched, yeah.
Again, it will be. So can I say there is significant reduction in number of database accesses? No, because I have, let's say, a million record inside the table. So can you say that you are only going to play with 101 or 102 records? Can you guarantee it? No, na?
No.
Definitely. So there will be no significant reduction in number of database access. Now is this thing clear?
Yes, thank you.
Mhm. So,
Okay.
just one question. So when it fetches one record, it saves it, and when it has to fetch the other one, the first one is already saved. I mean, it's also saved, or it gets
Yeah, it
deleted.
at a time, see the word here. At a time, it loads only a single record, but it doesn't mean that the previous records has been deleted.
Okay.
It is also there. At a time, you will
Okay.
be only able to load a single record, a single row, but the previous record will also be there.
Okay.
But we are talking about the tables now. In our SAP tables, you can expect a million record.
Hmm.
So for a million record, can you say this one record matters? No, na. We will
Hmm.
have to again go for a database access, and these things are just temporary storage, not a permanent. Only my database is permanent storage. Okay.
Hmm. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Let's again open my system, go to OS11 and open the table in change mode. Go to technical setting. For now, buffering not allowed. So where can I see the content of buffer? Another question. Where can I see? Where can I see the contents of buffer? The simple answer here is, guys, you can go to AL, you can go to AL12 transaction code, AL12 transaction code, okay, transaction code,
Mhm.
to see the contents of your buffer. Go, let's go to here, guys, just check it out. Go to AL12. Buffer monitor for your S4HANA server. See here, monitor, buffer, table buffer, and you can click on this single object display. Pass the table name. Pass the table name here. Copy the table and simply pass it here and click on OK button. Is anything here? Are you able to see anything here? Is this thing
Maybe you need
Hmm.
empty?
to refresh it first, or
No, 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 no. I have not selected any buffering.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you want to see the content, let's activate it and select single record for now. Click on activate. Buffering has been activated. So now if we will load the data, we will be able to see the content. How we will load the data? How do you think we are going to load the data? What is the easiest way to load the data? Write a query, right? Write a program for it.
No,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah. I was thinking,
We will use
is
a
it also
program, the
possible?
concept.
Is it
No, no,
also
no, no. We
possible
are
with table display?
no, 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 no. We will use the concept of program. See here, this program, I will explain how we will write program, everything. For now, I just want to show you the buffers. Okay. I just want to show you that this thing is there in my SAP system. If anybody is going to ask you, or maybe sometime you feel like let's go and research on these things, you will be able to easily understand that. Okay. For now, just see how we are going to load up something here. Just please do not ask question about the programs. Okay, because this is a separate chapter. We will see it in detail. If I will explain it now, you will not be able to digest it. I am just writing certain logic. I just want to show you how this thing is going to work. Okay. You might have seen this thing. Anyone?
Yes.
Where you
Mhm.
guys have seen this? What I'm writing?
You are
Yeah.
making an internal table? No, sorry,
That's
structure.
good. That's good. That's good. Yes, I'm simply creating a structure. Let's create internal table. Just one thing is important. Parameters. P employee ID. And let's say I'm writing a query. Simple query. From my table name into table. Internal table. All right. There is no issue in it. Okay. Guys, whenever you want to see the content of your buffer, what you can do is here we have buffer content. And now simply pass the table name and click on continue. This thing is completely empty, right? You can see all the columns of your table, right?
Mhm.
Now let's execute this code. Let's execute this code. I just want to see 101 record. I will click on execute button and see here, refresh, buffered content. My 101 record has loaded into the buffer. Now if you will go for 101 record again, just refresh it. Is this data being deleted? No, na. Now your data is there inside the buffer. Your system will not go to database. They will simply come here and they will ask, hey buffer, please share this data to me so that I can use it, right?
Mhm.
Now if you will go for 102, just see here how it is going to work. 102, refresh it. Is your first record deleted? No,
No.
na.
No, still done.
Your first record has not been deleted because at a time we are able to only load a particular record into the system at a time, only a particular record, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So this is how your single record buffering works. Now if you will go for sorry, fully record buffering, let me just show you. If you will go for this guy, let's say fully record activated. And now if you will refresh it, one more important stuff. Whenever you are changing any buffering property, by default your buffer data will be refreshed. Okay.
Mhm.
Always. Always your by default buffer data will be refreshed whenever you will change it. All the contents of the buffer will be removed. You will not see any content. Okay. So just try to understand these things whenever you are going to simply change any property inside the buffering setting. By default your buffer data will be erased. Now you will have to load it. Since we have selected this time fully record buffer, click on execute button and see the magic. Nothing is coming again. Yeah, all the data are loaded, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So this is your fully record buffer. See here, we are simply trying to fetch 102 employee ID right now, 102 records.
Yes.
But still all the data was loaded inside the buffer because of your fully record buffering type. Because of your fully record buffering type, all the data from your buffer was directly loaded and they were stored inside the buffer. Now, what do you think the disadvantage of this fully record buffer can be?
It can be rather slow if there are a lot of entries, no? Like it can
What
take a
can be
long time
slow?
I mean, it can take a long time to load it from the database layer to the application layer, right?
Okay, it can take a lot time. Okay, a lot of time. That it can be answer. But can you say this that is your application layer a memory is or is your application layer have any store for it? No, na. It is just storing temporarily a little bit, right? So if you are bringing a lot of data, can you say it will impact the efficiency of system? Because we
If
are
it's a
simply storing thousand millions of data directly over our application layer is not for the storage purpose, na. It is there for only for logical purpose, right? Or we are a technical developers, we are going to write a lots of tons of codes over here, so this guy is only responsible for logical purpose. So there is no meaning of directly storing millions of data over here, so definitely performance will be decreased now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
This can be a disadvantage. And what can be the advantage for it? We no longer need to go to database layer. All the data is there over the application layer, right?
Yes.
So this is very beautiful concept of buffering. Okay. Buffering, very important.
Amrit, but this buffer, I,
Mm.
I can imagine, am I right to understand it this way that it's still stored in the database layer, right? Content?
Uh, Please repeat it again.
This buffer that we load from the database layer. So this, we can
See,
imagine that it
one, I
exists.
understand your question. Whenever you are bringing data from your database layer to application layer, that does not means that your data is not over there. You are simply bringing a copy of it. Unless and until you are performing any commit over here, any changes over here, it will not reflect inside the database layer. Okay. Whenever we
Yes.
go for commit options, then it change the final changes are saved over the database layer. Bringing something, if I am saying that I am bringing something from here to here, it doesn't mean that I am simply cutting from here and pasting over here. Okay,
Mhm.
it never means that.
Okay.
Never means never. Okay,
Mhm. Yes, thank you.
what about you, Mukul?
Yeah,
Uh,
I understood this part, but what is the third type of buffering?
yeah,
Generic?
see, third one is for generic purpose. It's not like used mostly. It is only for language dependent tables. Okay, only theoretical part is there because I have never used it in my lifetime. I will just explain a little bit stuff of that. Let me just show you. It is there. Uh, where is this guy? Generic, fully record. Buffer. Yeah, generic area buffering. So see here, whenever you go for generic area, only those records that Generic key that matches the generic key are loaded into the buffer. Generic carrier simply means like language dependent table. There is a very specific table SFS ICT which is for language dependent stuff. So these are only based on requirement purposes. Okay, you might be working on certain projects where you will get a requirement for generic area, then there you can work it. And again, this buffering is also a very old approach. I'm just explaining you that these things are there over the server. You should have the knowledge for it. But technology has changed a lot. Buffering is also now no longer is being used currently. Okay, any buffering. This is for generic area purpose. If you might working on this thing levy, then you can go for this stuff. But as for theoretical part, I will say it is used for generic area like language dependent tables. You can see here we have got sci language system variable for language. Okay, is this sufficient or you want anything else also?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, Alan, what about you?
It's fine for me. Thanks.
Okay, see guys, this notes is more than sufficient. Okay, at the end of the course, let me just show you. At the end of the course you will have like more than 1,000 pages of a book. Okay, if you combine them all, it will change to a more than 1,000 page of book. So it totally up to you how much you are going to store it inside your brain. So please try to focus on the thing that we are discussing and try to ask any question. I'm also here to learn something from you. You are here to learn something from me. Okay,